Oh, there's endless opportunities for women in transportation. Supply chain management is a very interesting part of the economy, and I think it's so important and it's so vital for our country, and we don't really talk about how important supply chain management or the trucking industry is. So there are so many opportunities for women, and the trucking industry actually embraces women. They come to me and they say, how do I get more women in leadership roles? How do I get more women driving trucks? How do I get more female technicians? And the opportunities are endless. We just need to let women know that they're out there.
I think there's a lot of opportunities for women in the transportation industry, probably a lot of opportunities that women are not even aware of. Anywhere from just working for a customs broker, working for a trucker, working for a freight forwarder, a steamship line, so many opportunities that I really think that women tend to think that transportation is just driving a truck or seeing a train go down the rail, and that is so not the case. There are so many more opportunities, even from accounting to HR. Within the transportation industry, the opportunities are vast and numerous.
I think the most helpful thing to me in my career is really about facing fear. And so when I went into the Army, what I didn't know at the time is that the Army was going to put me in situations that I would have never chosen to be in had I been given the choice. But I was not given the choice. I have a terrible fear of heights, and one of the things we had to learn to do was to rappel off of a tower. And so we weren't asked if we wanted to rappel off the tower. We were lined up, a bunch of cadets, and we were marched up a tower about 40 feet in the air and taught how to rappel. When I got to the top of it, I froze because I thought for sure I was going to die. I leaned down into position, and each one of the areas, each one of the lines of cadets had a drill sergeant at the top, the guys who wear the Smokey the Bear hats. And so he was standing at the top, coaching me into position. I got into position, and let me just say, rappelling is very safe. Like physically, it's not possible to fall if you're doing the technique properly. It doesn't matter if you're 500 pounds, you'll be able to hold yourself literally with one hand. And so he coached me down into position and told me to push off and go, and I couldn't. I froze. I absolutely froze. And he looked down at me, and this was a guy who, who's like a snake eater. A scary guy. He looked down at me and he said, "Get the hell off my tower, cadet." And what I realized in that second was that I was much more afraid of him looking down at me than I was afraid of falling to my death down below. So I pushed off and went. And the very empowering thing about that was once I did that, I realized I could do it. And if you allow your fears to cramp the space that you occupy, whether it's what you choose to do or who you choose to impact, what path you choose to go down, then you'll never do anything. You'll end up circling yourself with this padding that will keep you from realizing your full potential. So I think it's really about fear. Throughout our lives, we're always going to be faced with things where we may fall, we may fail. We may not be the successful person in the room, and that's okay because that helps you grow. Without that experience in the Army, I would have never had that chance to realize that I could do things that I never thought were possible.
Believing that I could do anything. I truly believed that if anyone else could do it and it required brains, not talent. I mean, I can't sing, I can tell you that, but I always felt that if something required brains, then I could do it. And so I just was fearless in the fact that, I wanted to learn how to fly an airplane. Well, other people can fly an airplane, so, how hard can it be? So I've always felt that I can do it. And so I think that inner strength and that, that resolve, knowing that I'm capable, has really pushed me.
Without having a mentor, I definitely wouldn't be where I am, wouldn't be exposed to the different avenues the industry has to offer, professional organizations, conferences like this. If I didn't have someone who was really wanting to help me grow and develop, then I wouldn't be here. So it's very important to have a mentor.
I've had several. My mother and father both were huge mentors for me. My mother went back to school when she was 40 years of age to get her nursing license and nursing degree, and my father was just a big pusher, big in civil rights and women's movement. So they were, of course, mentors. But Mike Sweat, that hired me at V. Alexander, has just been the most successful person that I know in the industry. And he's great because he gives you the ball and lets you run with it. And if you make mistakes, he's there for you, but he's your biggest cheerleader when things go right. And that's helped me to develop other women that are working with me to give them the ball and let them go.
Well, I have had a mentor for many years, Brian Kuhn, who's the general counsel at the Airport Authority currently, and he's been there since 2010. And I worked with him for 8 years when he was the Shelby County attorney. And he continues to mentor me to this day. And I highly recommend that people seek out mentors at every opportunity I get. In any event that I'm at with young people, anything that I speak to with students present, I always encourage them to find a mentor. The mentors are the people who know how to operate in whatever industry you're in, whether it's transportation or anything else. And they're the ones that are going to open doors and introduce you to people. And all of those things may not seem like they're important at the time, but down the road they can prove to be very, very valuable.
Mentors are very important because it allows you to tap into the knowledge of somebody who's been there before you. I have more than one mentor, and I have different mentors for different roles in my life, but association management is a different model. And so I had a friend one time who helped me understand working with a board of directors. A board member had done something that I thought he had done for self-serving reasons, and she said to me, assume good intent. And I thought about it and I thought, you know what? He probably wasn't thinking about the effect it was going to have on me, and it wasn't about me. And now I take that piece of advice, assume good intent, and I use it in my daily life. If somebody cuts me off in traffic or something happens or someone says something, I go back to that piece of advice and I thank my mentor for that every day.
I think really when it comes to the transportation industry, the most important thing is to not worry too much about the fact that there are not very many of us. When I sit in a conference room or when I attend a meeting and I happen to be the only woman in the room, I never give it a second thought. And the reality of it is that the men around the table really aren't paying attention to that either. They're paying attention to, are you competent? Do you know what you're talking about? Have you done the research? Are you prepared? Do you have credibility? Are you good at collaboration? Do you care about teamwork? And do you care about the success of the team rather than your own personal success? So I think if it's an issue of worrying about where you don't belong, you'll end up not belonging anywhere. And we belong anywhere we choose to go. There's nobody that's going to tell you that you can't do something unless you allow them to. So it's about the choices that you choose to make and the voice that plays in your head that says, you know what, I can do whatever I put my mind to. And if that's what you allow your voice to say, because your voice wants to say that to you. So if you allow that voice to speak to you that way, it will be amazing what you can accomplish.
Learn as much as you can. Seize all opportunities. There are so many avenues that you can explore. Pick a niche or a pathway that fits you, your personality, and learn and grow with it.
I would say to be strong and to know that you can do it, but also to prove yourself, because once you prove yourself, people around you will say, you know what, she's capable and now I can trust her. So I would say do it. Don't have the just have the self-confidence to know that you can accomplish great things. So just be self-confident, go out there and do it, and you'll do it, and you'll survive.